Treasury Wine Estates yesterday reported it's poised to take the Penfolds wine brand back into China if and when prohibitive tariffs are taken off Australian wine. It's part of a skew towards the premium and the luxury end of the wine market around the world. But in the meantime, there's another issue piling up for the Aussie wine industry. Put simply, there's too much wine. Piggott is the author of Rabobank's latest wine industry report and joins me now. Pia, many thanks for your time. That's the cold, harsh reality of it, isn't it? There's been good growing season. China's lack of demand means, again, the wine producers have got this lake of wine that they talk about.
Yeah, we have a huge oversupply. We're swimming in wine, as we call it. Over 859 Olympic-sized swimming pools worth of wine are currently in inventory. And that's been caused, as you said, by one, the China tariffs, two, record production years, as well as COVID logistics and bottlenecks, which means we haven't actually been able to grow our exports much elsewhere.
We're just trying to give people a little glimpse. You know, we've had to exaggerate this, I will say. One Olympic pool is 2.5 million litres of wine, but there's 2 billion litres of wine in storage, just to give you some sort of a sense of this. Yeah. But where is it being stored? Is it being stored on wineries and properties around Australia?
Yeah, so it's mostly being stored in tanks, and that's equivalent to about 2.8 billion bottles. So while it's not all in bottles as of yet, it's huge amounts of tanks are storing all this wine.
So what does that do to the price of wine? Not only premium wine, but all wines that Australians might be drinking, and what does that do to the industry?
Yeah, commercial wine is really suffering the most from this oversupply. That's where most of it, the glut, is coming from. And we've seen from the grower end, grape prices have really come down, on average about 54% below the 2020 peak.
Okay, so this is what you're talking about, under $30 a bottle pretty much. It's what you call commercial wine, the stuff that people literally buy and drink, which is most wine, let's be honest, it's consumed.
Yes, that is really where the glut is and where the prices have come down. In the cool climate regions, which is most of where the premium wine is, the grape prices have actually stayed quite consistent or have been increasing a little bit.
Okay, so the message from the wine industry was always that, okay, China has put these massive tariffs on. It's really taken China out of play as a wine market for Australia. It was our biggest destination. We're going to find the US. We're going to go to Europe. We might find other parts of Asia that might take the wine. Has that strategy worked for the wine industry?
Not really as of yet, particularly because China was so big. We've seen that there was a recovery in markets like Southeast Asia and in Canada, but our other main two markets, UK and US, have also come under pressure. In the UK, we've signed the UK-Australia FTA, the Free Trade Agreement, and that's decrease the tariff on Australian wine. But at the same time, we've actually seen the alcohol duties increase about 20% for a standard bottle of Australian wine there.
Okay, then in the US, say, and we saw this out of the Treasury Wine Estates, because previous reports had shown that some of their branding, their new brands that they'd tried to do with Snoop and all the rest of those were kind of cool, but they kind of didn't work as well as they might have thought, because they thought they could get a lot of that commercial wine out into that US marketplace.
Yeah, the commercial wine has been quite difficult to grow, particularly in the US right now. We've seen, particularly under the US $15 a bottle, an oversupply there. People during COVID times, they were not drinking more, and so they have a lot more stock.
So the message right now is, if you're a wine consumer, it is buy up and start to sell some of this, because it's actually pretty cheap prices that might not be around in 5 years' time. Potentially, is that right?
Yeah, Australian bulk wine is really very competitive on the international scale, and it's a really good time to support the Australian wine industry.
Okay, so if China opens up tomorrow, does all these problems go away very quickly?
No, unfortunately not. We've had a look, and basically, even if the tariff is removed immediately, it would require a huge rebound in China's consumption to see the oversupply lift, and still that would take at least 2 to 3 years to reduce. So there still is a lot of pain to come, even if the tariff is removed.
Piggott from Rabobank, thank you so much. There's an interesting stat there. People should be actually buying a bit of wine. Many thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me.